I've been waiting for you.
Hello everyone, it's BYG Agami back with another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing and breaking down episode 2 of Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS titled Catch the Wind Data Storm. So in this episode we have Yusaku Fujiki going toe-to-toe with the Knight of Inoue member, and this happens to be a different Knight of Inoue member from the first Knight of Inoue that we get to see Yusaku duel very early on in episode 1. But I have a lot of things to say about this episode. I enjoyed this episode a lot. The only major flaw I had about this episode was the duel was a little bit too long. And not only that, the way they ended the duel. Spoiler alert, Yusaku destroys the Knight of Inoue member in a duel. And what happens is they don't really show what happens to him. He just falls off the data storm and like into an abyss essentially. And I would have really liked it if they showed what happened to his body. Because in this episode, Ignis states basically two things. There was this one time where Yusaku was about to fall off the data storm, and Blue Angel comes in and saves him. And she says, "I paid my debt." And essentially what that is from episode 1 when Yusaku saved Blue Angel from Cracking Dragon's attack. And it's basically like, I got your back, you got my back, essentially. And I think we're going to see a lot of that in VRAINS, where not even Blue Angel and Yusaku, where they save each other, and that sort of builds it up. And I wonder what's going to happen in the following episodes with Blue Angel and Yusaku Fujiki. Will they be in a relationship? Probably not, since Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't really do that or touch upon that early on in the series. But it would be cool to see what they have to offer in terms of friendship and all that stuff. But once Yusaku is saved from Blue Angel, Ignis states to Yusaku that you should be careful because if you were to fall, then your physical body would have been destroyed. So I wonder, what happens to the Link VRAINS body, the AI, the VR body? Is that still in contact in the Link VRAINS world? In addition to that, I wonder what happens to the buildings, because we see the data storm in the episode just rip through the buildings along with Cracking Dragon in some scenes, pummeling through buildings. And essentially what happens is a solid vision or whatever the Link VRAINS system runs on just dematerializes. Along with that, the other thing that Ignis brings up is he states to Yusaku that you should be careful because if your life points go down and take a massive dip, which happened to Yusaku. He states that once you get out of Link VRAINS, you're gonna have a lot of flashbacks, and mental damage. So once Yusaku does get out of VR and he gets out of the form of Playmaker and goes into his normal state, Yusaku Fujiki, will we see more flashbacks? And speaking about flashbacks, there was actually a flashback scene in this. So remember in episode 1, when Yusaku Fujiki talks to Naoki Shima, he states the 3 things about Naoki Shima, 3 positive things and 3 negative things. Well, he says that again. I'm hoping that's a recurring thing that Yusaku states. Well, Yusaku's in the data storm, right? And he happens to have a skill. And when you're in a speed duel, you actually have a skill. So the Knight of Inoue member has a skill as well. Yusaku's skill is actually called Storm Access. And the funny thing is that Ignis led Yusaku to that, and he actually states it. And Yusaku states that, "Oh, you brought me here." And Ignis replies with, "Oh, you caught on," or something along those lines. And yet again, I like that they sort of kept true to what they stated about Yusaku, that he's very good at reading people, and that he's very good at thinking on his feet, which he does do in this episode. Yusaku's in the data storm, and he just needs that motivation, that drive to push on to draw a card. And the thing with the Storm Access is that you are allowed to draw a card, any card within that, and it happens to be a Link monster which Yusaku draws, and the monster is actually Decode Talker. But Yusaku states this: there are 3 reasons why he has to move on and go forward in order to win the duel. The first reason is to reclaim his lost time. So what does that mean? So we get actually a really cool flashback of Yusaku when he was an infant. And we see the scene of baby Yusaku being held by someone. It looks like something happened in his past. Probably, and most likely, this is the case where Yusaku is an orphan. And the thing is, we see a flashback of Yusaku in episode 1 as well, before Naoki Shima comes in and interrupts Yusaku from that dream. And it's just like, what could this be? Like, this is honestly the most interesting thing about VRAINS so far. Like, I'm just so interested about Yusaku's past. The advertising for VRAINS talked about everything goes back to Yusaku's past, and that seems to be the case And it's just like, who could these people be? Could they be the Knights of Hanoi? Could they be Soul Technology? Or could they be some other party? And I know this is episode 2, but I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below. I actually have a new series coming out this Friday. It's called Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan Theory Fridays. I already recorded the video before VRAINS episode 2 came out, and it's already been edited. I scheduled it for Friday. I want you guys to comment down below your guys' theories. So in the following Friday, which is going to be on the 26th, I'm actually going to get your guys' theories. And I want to hear your guys' theories about what Yusaku's past could be. And if you look at Yusaku's face, it's bruised. Now I wonder what that could be. And what I believe is that it wasn't his doing. Rather, he was just hanging out with his friends or something like that. And the wrong group of people came in and messed him up, bullied him, did something to him just to bruise him. I wonder what else it could be, because I can't think of anything else. And there's some sort of police and ambulance trucks actually lined outside of the area near the forest. So whatever happened in Yusaku's past must have been something very, very serious. So I'm interested about that. I think that's really the only thing that's making me hyped about VRAINS, like on a whole nother level of hype. I'm already hyped about VRAINS and all that, but this is just increasing my hype factor for VRAINS. When I saw this for the first time, I was actually like, I just got chills. I was hyped, everything. Like, I just love this scene. The second reason is to rescue Kusanagi's brother from the darkness. What could that mean? I guarantee you the darkness is something possibly relating towards the Knights of Hanoi. When we think of darkness in Yu-Gi-Oh!, it's the villains, alright? That's what it most likely is, the villains. But on the other hand, I believe that it also might be something with Kusanagi's brother's mental state. Because if you look at his eyes and the fact that he's backed up in this corner and possibly like a hospital or something like that, and his eyes look very dilated, maybe he's sort of confused, or very similar to Kaiba when he received the mind crush. He was just lost all over the place. He didn't get his mind together just yet. I think that's what's going through Kusanagi's brother. And number 3 is to meet the person who gave me courage. Now, I have no idea what that could mean. All that's shown is Yusaku as a baby. Yusaku's a baby. He turns around and there's a person that's speaking in a childish voice, so they're most likely a child, stating, "Hey, you." And I wonder if that person happens to be Kusanagi, but Yusaku's already met that person several times, so it has to be someone else. And it's really cool that someone gave Yusaku courage to move on, to sort of get past whatever his past might have been, or whatever issue was going on at the time that sort of set him back. So I like that. Animation in this episode was beautiful. I wonder if this was in-house or possibly in another studio, because the thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that they go on, I think, they go through rotating studios every week. So I would imagine that the first episode was in-house from Gallup, and this happened to be outsourced from another studio. But the thing is, this episode is really well written. I love the duel. I love the fact that we see Yusaku's motivations. We don't see him as this very well prodigy-esque duelist like Judai, along with Yusei. And he's actually having trouble, at least for the first and second act of this episode. And then in the third act, he gets a hang of things. So I like that. But that's the video for today. Thank you very much for watching, guys. And please comment your theories down below. And check out the Facebook and Twitter fan page regarding Yu-Gi-Oh! VRAINS.